Welcome into a YouTube exclusive edition of Tony's Tiers. We did this last year at the beginning of the season prior to the 23-24 season. And it was a hit, as usual. But we didn't do it at the beginning of this season. A lot of people changed from the tiers. We had quarterbacks ranked 1 through 32 for all NFL teams in different tiers. We didn't do it at the beginning of the season. We're doing it now about the third of the way through the season. But I feel like we've got a good grasp on where people are placed in the hierarchy. You will not see them, but you will hear them. We've got Taylor, we've got Mike Fuentes, and possibly Chris Cody somewhere in the back. But, Taylor, should I lay out the tiers here first, and then we go to them? Okay. Like last year, highest tier is the Patrick Mahomes tier. It lives in a tier by itself. It's head and shoulders above the NFL as far as QBs go. Then we go elite right after that. We go good enough. We go meh. We go bad. And a brand new category this season, cooked. Before rounding out with the jury still out, which is not good, not bad. Right? Like we've got some distance between all the other ones and jury still out.
People were upset that you put Jared Goff in jury still out last year when the jury was still out, and now he looks like he's not in the jury. He's still
exactly
out.
Right. And now he's moved from where he was prior. But again, we're not going to, spoil anything. But yeah, there's been some movement around in the NFL. We'll start here. This is, again, at random. All right? We're starting with the Broncos and Bo Nix. I'm going to give Bo Nix a jury still out. Okay? I know, anticlimactic. I get it. He's done some nice things. We can agree. The Broncos are 3-3, not playing incredible offense. I don't know what Sean Payton really saw in Bo Nix outside of having a kind of ready-to-go out-of-the-box quarterback. He's been doing a lot of things with his legs. They just got embarrassed by the Chargers. I don't think the game was as close as the score would indicate. Bo Nix has some big limitations as a passer. I think as a runner, he's good. But how far is that really going to get you, especially when you have an offense that doesn't really have an identity, right? They try to establish the run. Javonte Williams isn't the same after his knee injury. Jaleel McLaughlin's okay. They've got Cortland Sutton, who is a good wide receiver, but to be your number one is tough when you don't have a quarterback that can get him the ball consistently. So jury's still out on Bo Nix, but it's leaning towards man. I'll give a lean on the jury still out because obviously I'm talking to the jury and I'm seeing kind of what they're talking about. And it feels like man is the jury's lean, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll give him the rest of the year to make a statement for the jury to kind of see where they're at. Moving on to the Saints, Derek Carr. We're going to give him a meh. We know what Derek Carr is. What is it, Taylor? You think you want Derek Carr until you have him on your team and you realize I don't want Derek Carr.
It's my favorite take that I've ever had. As somebody who went through this process, because Mac Hollins, who I follow religiously,
right.
When he went to the Raiders, I was so excited. And then 3 games in, I'm like, okay, I'm not that excited watching Derek Carr anymore.
Mike Fuentes gave you the thumbs up of approval.
The best take he's ever had.
Wow. He's got some good ones, too. That's impressive. May, yeah. Patriots and Drake May. I like what I saw from the first game of Drake May. They got beat to shreds by the Texans, but there was a couple plays there where I was like, wait a second, Drake May. Nice ball to, was it Pop Douglas? Across the kind of like a little bit of a slant, and Pop Douglas took it for like 30 yards and a touchdown. The one he threw over the top, I think it was to Booty, for a touchdown. That was a nice ball. He's got some spunk. I'm excited. They have a bad offensive line. They don't have any weapons. He doesn't really have much help. Jury's going to be out on Drake May. Guys, this next one I don't really want to talk about. This is a guy who was good enough last year, who has now moved into a brand new category. Trevor Lawrence, who was good enough last year, is cooked. That's a hard pill to swallow. That is a hard pill to swallow when, as you guys know, I was a big proponent of the Jags. I thought the Jags were sneaky good last year or 2 years ago, and then the last couple years they have not been that good. The Urban Meyer experiment, now Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, that regime continues to fail. Trevor Lawrence is not the mark of a good quarterback, and you'll hear this throughout, Tony's tiers. The mark of a good quarterback is, can you elevate guys that are on your team that are average and make them better, that are good and make them great? Trevor Lawrence has good weapons. He had Calvin Ridley last year. He's got Christian Kirk, who's a good wide receiver. He's got Brian Thomas Jr., who I think is going to be amazing. He's going to be a Pro Bowl, all-pro type wide receiver. He's got Evan Ingram. Etienne, whatever you think about Travis Etienne. There's weapons in that Jacksonville team, and he just is always perpetually stuck in the mud. He played, and we're doing this off of week 6? We were doing it off of the London game, where Caleb Williams, who's been okay this season, who's trying to get his footing, outplayed him. Buddy, you've just signed a $250 million deal, and you're going to be cooked? Not good. Not good.
Do you think a haircut could help him?
I don't know if a haircut can help him.
No way. That would only be a downgrade.
It would. It's like when Justin Herbert got his haircut, and you're like, whoa, who's this guy?
But to the point, though, Herbert knew he needed a change. He's like, I know people love my luscious locks, but it's not going well, so I got to change it up.
It effectively ended his career.
Was he better? Was Justin Herbert better post-haircut?
No.
I just like the effort of the change.
I think when you're cooked, though, the haircut reeks of desperation.
Yes. It's like Sirianni, who just got his haircut again.
You can't be cooked. You have to be cooking to get a haircut.
Exactly.
Herbert cut the hair before we were judging.
Suspicious.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Moving on quickly, Geno Smith, good enough. I feel like Geno Smith is good enough to lead a team to a playoff berth. Right? You got to know where you stand. You got to know where you're aiming for. The Seahawks are not a Super Bowl contender. Are they a playoff team? Yes, I think so. Is Geno Smith good enough to get them to the playoffs? Yes. He's going to be in my good enough category, cuz he doesn't fit in the meh category like he was last year. Right? We didn't know. We thought Geno Smith, okay, whatever. Like he's average. He's taken a step. Also in the good enough category. And Taylor's going to have to look and see where he was last year, because this next guy was in the elite category. Taking a downgrade. Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is in the good enough category now. The Achilles worried me. He was elite last year, or 2 years ago before the Achilles. Now, only good enough. I don't think his mobility's there. I don't think his ability to get out of the pocket and extend plays, even though he wasn't great at doing that. They're running a lot of pistol formation. They're getting him on the move a little bit. He's not as good and not as comfortable as he was. I know he threw for 500 some odd yards, but he's just in the good enough to get you to a playoff berth category right now. Sad. I know, sad, but it is what it is. A new incoming quarterback, because we didn't have him last year, did we?
Nope, it was Tannehill.
It was Tannehill last year. Will Levis. And as quickly as he got in, he's in the cooked category. All right. He's already in the cooked category. There was a couple, if you squinted, there was a couple plays that he looked like Dan Marino.
Those takes are coming back to haunt you.
Haunt me.
The squinting Marino takes are coming back.
There was a couple plays where he looked, if you squinted, he looked like Marino.
He wasn't saying over the course of a game he looked like Dan Marino. He said isolated plays, you squint, you could see shades of Marino.
Now,
exactly.
If you squint, you see Marino in that final Jags game in the playoffs.
Now he just looked like Trevor Siemian.
Yeah, I wish.
He wishes he looked like Trevor Siemian.
I know. 93 yards, I think, this past week on 20-some-odd attempts. Not good. Josh Allen, he's going to be in the elite category. Did we have him in the elite category last year? All right, so a continual eliteness from Josh Allen. I saw he hasn't thrown an interception this year. I was surprised by that. Usually a very reckless quarterback, and has held onto the ball pretty well. They're running the ball a ton more because the weapons are whatever. Mac Hollins caught a touchdown.
He said somewhere that he's thrown interceptions. The other team just isn't catching them. So he's been reckless just by his own admission.
Wow.
Interceptable
balls.
You know what I hear there? My boys do.
Yeah. Next game, maybe bet Josh Allen interception. Might sprinkle that in. Staying in the elite category, I think we had him in the elite category last year. Joe Burrow, who on God Bless Football, Mike Fuentes, Chris Sims said if the Bengals were playing better, he'd be in the MVP conversation. A guy who's playing very good football this past week against the Giants. A bit of a stinker game, the entirety of it, right? Not Joe Burrow. I thought he played well with the conditions, but the game against the Baltimore Ravens, 5 touchdowns and a pick, has been looking really sharp. The wrist, I'm still a little worried about the wrist. They keep making a big deal about how he's still like trying to like work out the wrist, and every time he throws, he's got the grimace going, and it's like, shout out to the Mets, but it's like, is the wrist going to be okay, or is that something that we should be a little bit worried about? Elite category for Joe Burrow, still doing his thing, but watch out with the wrist. I'm not 100% sure that he's 100% on that wrist. DeShaun Watson. Did we have DeShaun Watson last year ranked? What was he?
I hate to say he was good enough last year.
He was good enough last year. Wow. Wow. He is not only cooked. I created a new category for DeShaun Watson. He's in the cooked horrible category. He's not good. He's not bad. He's horrible. He's terrible.
How many guys have gone from good enough to cooked so far?
3?
At least. Yeah.
It's DeShaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence right now.
Just
but there's
that's it?
still 3 quarterbacks.
Will Levis was also in the cooked category.
Yeah, but he
came in
wasn't
cooked.
ranked last year.
Yeah, he came in cooked.
Last year there was 5 quarterbacks in good enough.
I think we've got a pretty good, I'm looking at the list here, and I think we've got a good amount of good enough quarterbacks in the NFL right now. In the cooked category, right now we've got Trevor Lawrence, we've got Will Levis, and we've got DeShaun Watson in the cooked/horrible category because he's just been terrible. They're dead last in third down conversion. With 18 or 19% in third down conversion rate. Percent, not 18 or 19 in the NFL. 18 or 19% in third down conversions across the NFL. 32 teams, they're at 18%. Insane. CJ Stroud. He's in the Patrick Mahomes tier.
Wow.
He's in the Patrick Mahomes tier, guys. CJ Stroud leading a very good Texans team into the Patrick Mahomes tier. We're going to have, by the way, Taylor, we're going to have more Patrick Mahomes tier guys this season than we did last season. I know
Chris doesn't want to say it on air, but he says it's very disrespectful.
Just
to
the
Patrick
disrespect
Mahomes.
to
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes right
Hey,
here.
yeah, Stroud, do something.
what,
Do something.
He's doing it right now.
Yeah,
He's doing it right now.
Doing it in the playoffs.
If you close your eyes, okay, and you listen to the stats, and you hear Taylor, pull up the stats really quick of Patrick Mahomes and CJ Stroud. If you close your eyes and listen to those stats, you're gonna hear CJ Stroud stats and be like, "Oh, that's Patrick Mahomes," and you're gonna be like, "Oh no, wait, that's CJ Stroud."
So one quarterback has completed 60.
Hold on, let me close my eyes.
Close your eyes, please. Everybody, close their eyes.
Are they closed?
Yeah,
Even if you're driving, you can have one eye open.
yeah. One eye open.
One quarterback has completed 68.3% of their passes
That's good.
for 1,577 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 98.6 quarterback rating.
Okay.
The other quarterback, 69.4,
Okay.
1,235 yards, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and then an 88.9 quarterback rating. 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
A 6-game sample.
Yeah, but we can only do with what we got right now, Chris. That's all we got is 6 games. And through 6 games, CJ Stroud outplaying Patrick Mahomes. He's in the Patrick Mahomes level tier of Tony's tiers. I'm sorry. CJ Stroud, first guy in the Patrick Mahomes level tier. Getting to a second guy in the Patrick Mahomes level tier. Jordan Love. Jordan Love in the Patrick Mahomes level tier right now.
Wow.
I know he missed a couple games. Well,
You love love.
I love Love.
Missed a couple games, lost 2 games, and now he's crawling back up.
Playing
2-2 on the season, right?
I just feel like if there was a tier that like we could just call it something than the Patrick Mahomes tier. Like I'm
It
like
was elite.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, but it's just they don't deserve to be Mahomes yet. Like there needs to be another name for this tier.
Well, it's the Patrick Mahomes tier because there's nothing better than Patrick Mahomes, right? But he's playing, and we can kind of forecast into the future a little bit for Jordan Love that he's going to be a very good quarterback. Right now, he was hurt, missed a couple of games, but I think the other thing too, Chris, Mike, and Taylor, is when you're in the Patrick Mahomes level tier, you elevate your teammates. Jaden Reed, really good player. I like Jaden Reed. Special speed. Would he be as good if he was on another team? Would Romeo Doubs be as good if he was on another team? Would Christian Watson, we know the answer is no. If he was on another team, would he be that good? It's very simple. Dontavian Wicks. We would have never heard of Dontavian Wicks if it weren't for Jordan Love. Jordan Love in a special tier in the Patrick Mahomes level right now. I know I'm going to catch some flack for that, but these are my tiers. Sorry. Tua Tagovailoa. He's good enough. He's good enough. Dolphins fans, he's good enough to lead you when he's playing. When he's on the sidelines with a clipboard, that makes me a little uneasy. Mike McDaniel came out and said he's going to play again this year. We just don't know when. That does not give me any confidence whatsoever.
So he's moved up from jury's still out from last year.
Yeah, because led the best offense in football last year from a numerical basis. Got back this year. Looked like it was going to be a great offense for a while. And then all of a sudden gets hurt. And
I feel like you're giving Tua a bump because
he led the offense.
Tyler Huntley and Skyler were so bad.
No, I'm giving him a bump because of the fact that he was the quarterback of the best offense in football last year. That's why he's good.
Do you only feel that way seeing the Dolphins without him? Because I feel like when you see him play the first few weeks,
that's what I was getting at. Yeah.
But if you think about the first few weeks,
yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah,
it was
when he's
right.
actually playing, his case has been made better, like just being hurt.
Yes, that's actually not a bad take. It's not a bad take. It has shaded me a little bit different, where I'm like, you know what? If Tua was healthy, this Dolphins team could be in the mix.
Even though he looked really bad in that last game before he got hurt.
Not great, but he's good enough. I think we can all agree Tua is good enough, right? That's why they signed him to a $200 million deal. He's good enough to be a quarterback that could play in the playoffs. That's it. Not win a game, depending if it's cold or not. Moving on to the Colts. Jury's still out on Anthony Richardson. I'm going to keep that one simple. Hasn't played enough. Has the arm talent. Has the speed. Has the agility. Has the mobility. When you stay on the field and produce, the jury will find out who you really are. A really special arm talent, but jury's still out. We'll breeze through some of these. Jared Goff, good enough. Got you to a throw or two throws from a Super Bowl last year against the 49ers. I actually sneaky think they may make it to the Super Bowl this year. I know Aiden Hutchinson's down, but keep an eye on the Detroit Lions to be a dark horse into the Super Bowl this year. Sam Darnold of the Vikings. Jury's still out. I don't know where to go with Sam Darnold because he's been a journeyman quarterback who was seeing ghosts at one point in his career, and now he's leading a very good Minnesota Vikings team. Is it Kevin O'Connell? Is it Justin Jefferson? Is it Brian Flores in the defense? Is it a mix of all those things that are helping Sam Darnold? Maybe. That's what the jury still has to decide later on this season.
Can Geno Smith be good enough, but then Sam Darnold not be good enough?
Well, I think the issue is
they're almost the same guy.
The jury's still out on Sam Darnold, though, right? Like, we saw Geno Smith do it for a couple years. We haven't seen Sam Darnold do it for a couple years.
Can you do the entire Sam Darnold career arc?
Yeah, he was with the Jets, was seeing ghosts on Monday night. Then he was terrible. Then he got sent to Carolina, was in Carolina for a couple years, terrible. Went over to San Francisco, was a backup in San Francisco, didn't see the field. Then we laughed when the Vikings signed him and said that he was going to be their starting quarterback. They drafted J.J. McCarthy, and then he gets hurt. And then we're like, they're going to have to trade for a quarterback. They can't go into the season with Sam Darnold as their quarterback, and now they're 5-0. Do I have that right? Did I miss any stops on the way? Okay.
You just got me thinking there, and this may be a totally different segment for a different time, but I want to play the game with you guys one time. These two quarterbacks are exactly the same, and you just have to pick two quarterbacks that you think in terms of like skill and their careers, like they're just exactly the same in terms of how good they are, our perception of them. Because I have a nominee. You guys want to hear it, or we'll save it for a different day?
No, say it.
Geno Smith. I'm not going to lie. I kind of forgot the other guy I was talking about. Who was the guy I was just talking to you about?
Sam Darnold?
No. God damn it. I can't believe I'm
Geno Smith?
now.
Keep this in.
Yeah, I keep this in. Is that guy?
I have a nominee while Chris buys
Yes.
time. Everybody that the Raiders start at quarterback right now.
same guy. That's a
They're
good
all
one.
the same.
I found
Same
it.
guy.
Okay.
It's Derek Carr. Derek Carr and Geno Smith are exactly the same.
Interesting. If you put
It would have been better if I thought of it right away, but
If you think of Derek Carr in Seattle, throwing to DK, throwing to JSN, throwing to Tyler Lockett, like I can see that. That's not bad, Chris.
fun game.
I'll keep that in there.
Just take out the part where I couldn't find my
No,
train
we
of
can't.
thought.
Absolutely
We
not.
actually can't take that out. I'm sorry. That's all right. This one I think is the furthest drop from anybody in Tony's tiers. Jaylen Hurts has gone from Patrick Mahomes level to the jury's still out. Mike Fuentes, once upon a time, had to fight me to join this company because him and I argued when we didn't know each other about who had more juice, Jaylen Hurts or Tua. I won, obviously. Because
how the turntables, though. How the turntables, my friend.
Right now, CJ Stroud is seeing his future on this list.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. But Jaylen Hurts, my question to you is Shane Steichen that good of an offensive coordinator? Are you that good of a quarterback? Is it a mix? Because the moment that he busted out of town and went to Indianapolis, your play has gone down significantly. Is he a scheme-based quarterback? That is the question that the jury is going to have to answer. Injuries are going to pop up. You're going to be hurt. You're going to have to play at a Superman level when your defense isn't that good, when your coach isn't that good. Let's see if Sirianni's still at the head coaching spot at the end of the year. But Jaylen Hurts, the jury would like to see you. I don't think that's good.
So what you're saying is the jury came out, said you are Patrick Mahomes.
No, the jury never talked to Jaylen Hurts, right? That was the issue. He was already there in the Patrick Mahomes tier, and then the jury started watching and was like, wait a second. We have to
deliberate.
We didn't even talk about Jaylen Hurts. We have to get to deliberating and talking about Jaylen Hurts.
But you don't want the jury deliberating.
You don't want
you don't want to be in the jury's purview at all.
Because if the jury comes out and says, meh, that's damning.
The jury is no longer out.
Right.
Now the jury is just out on you in general.
Right. But they could come out and say good enough.
Some quarterbacks want the jury to be out on them. Like Jared Goff. Like we extended Jared Goff the benefit of the doubt, and now he's elevated.
Exactly. Because he was like, the jury wasn't even thinking about Jared Goff. Like when the trade happened, they were like, wow, okay, Jared Goff. I mean, made it to a Super Bowl, but it's kind of over for Jared. Like there's really nothing to do. And the jury deliberated and said, wait a second, good enough.
I have a nominee for Chris's game.
For guys who are the same?
Yeah. Jared Goff, Tua Tagovailoa.
Wow. I'll push back on that. Best ability is availability.
Wow. He's saying Jared
because he's
Goff's
hurt
better.
right now is what you're saying. He's okay.
Goff doesn't get hurt.
Not a prisoner of the moment at all.
Goff doesn't get hurt. It's close.
Super Bowl and an NFC Championship game for Goff.
Also a good offensive line.
Great offense.
In both
cases. Like best offensive line in football. So yeah, that one hurts, but jury's still out on Eagles. We'll make this one quick. Daniel Jones cooked. Right, we can go around the horn here. Is cooked.
He was meh last year.
He was meh last year. Downgraded to cooked. Aiden O'Connell, I gave him a meh just because he's like, where can we fit him? Is he bad? Okay, I got some bads around.
I can't decide whether his name being Aiden hurts or helps him.
I think it's the O'Connell part that I'm confused by. Because he doesn't look like an O'Connell.
He doesn't.
He looks like an Aiden Gonzalez.
He doesn't look cool enough to be a Raider quarterback.
He has no swag. Okay. You know what? I'm going to deliberate with myself. We're putting him in the bad category. That sucks. I'm sorry, AOC. All right. Matthew Stafford, good enough. 1 year Super Bowl. He's
still
good
got it.
Still got it, but he's not elite.
Still got it.
Disrespectful.
But he's not elite though. He's good enough now. He's got to be carried.
He's the quarterback on the all still got it team. He's the starting quarterback.
Okay, I like that. Good enough. Andy Dalton, meh. He's okay. He's Andy Dalton. Aaron Rodgers, jury's still out.
Wow. It's a long deliberation.
Yeah, seriously.
Remember, the jury has never had to deliberate about Aaron Rodgers. He's always been there. One of the best quarterbacks in the league. The jury has never had to talk about Aaron Rodgers. After the Achilles injury, now we got the Devontae Adams trade. The jury's out because he's been playing kind of up and down this year, threw a pick to seal the game when they played in London against the Minnesota Vikings. I think the jury's out on Aaron Rodgers. They may come back and say good enough. They may come back and say meh. They may come back and say cooked. I don't know.
They want to see him with Devontae.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. So jury's like, if Devontae...
We need more evidence.
If Devontae on one side, Garrett Wilson on the other side, Breece Hall and Braylon Allen in the backfield, if they can do something, then he can be good enough. If it fails with Devontae, then he's cooked. See, that's why the jury could be a good thing or a bad thing. But if the jury's still out on you, we're still trying to figure it out. Justin Fields, who I now hear the Pittsburgh Steelers might go to Russell Wilson as their starting quarterback. That makes me sad because the jury was still out on Justin Fields. I think the jury was out on Justin Fields last year too.
He was good enough last year.
Wow, he was good enough last year. Oof. I thought he was playing all right. I thought he was good enough for what they were doing in Pittsburgh, which is why I had the jury being out, deliberating on what they were doing. I don't like that. Jury's still out on Justin Fields. We'll figure out if he's cooked or if he's meh. I don't know if good enough is in his wheelhouse anymore. The last guy in the Patrick Mahomes tier, Lamar Jackson.
Approved.
He was the MVP last year. Yeah, that works.
Mike, okay. Ethan?
There's an omission from the Patrick Mahomes tier.
What do you mean?
We'll get there.
That's the last guy. We've got CJ Stroud, we've got Lamar Jackson, and we've got Jordan Love. Patrick Mahomes is in the elite tier. It's a downgrade, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, I see what you did there.
So he's not in the Patrick Mahomes tier, but he's elite. But he's not there at that point. He's not there yet.
I see what you did. Nice.
Side by side with him in the elite category, Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels, elite right now. Elite quarterback. Could be the MVP. Smart people, football people are saying he could be Rookie of the Year and MVP. We don't know. All right, so those two guys, elite. Baker Mayfield, good enough. We agree? Good enough? Around the horn? Justin Herbert, good enough? We like that? Yeah.
Overrated.
Overrated, so he's not good enough.
Justin Herbert, yeah, just do something.
Throw for more than 240 yards, you know?
Kyler Murray, good enough? Yeah. Dak Prescott, good enough?
He better be for what he's going to pay.
Caleb Williams, jury's still out on Caleb Williams.
Wow.
So I'll read you the tiers so we can put them here on the screen. Patrick Mahomes, CJ Stroud, Patrick Mahomes tier, CJ Stroud, Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love, elite tier, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes. Good enough tier, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Brock Purdy in the good enough tier. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy in the good enough tier. Baker Mayfield, good enough. Justin Herbert, good enough. Kyler, good enough. Dak, good enough. In the med tier, we got Derek Carr, Andy Dalton. In the jury still out category, we have...
Taylor does not agree with your Kyler Murray take.
I think the jury, if anything, the jury's still out on Kyler.
Really?
Yeah, he's a little inconsistent. Like,
But Tony's assessment was good enough is can you get to the playoffs? You can get to the playoffs with Kyler Murray. If you have a good defense,
not
good
lately.
offensive line.
Is it his size? Because the skill is there.
If everything is perfect, Kyler Murray can get to
Yeah,
the
if
playoffs.
Kyler Murray's 6'3", are you putting him in the jury still out?
I'm
here?
asking what Taylor doesn't like about him.
There's just no consistency week to week.
I'm saying he's on and off, yeah.
I like him.
Also, are you saying Jordan Love is better than Patrick Mahomes?
I'm saying right now, Jordan Love is playing better than Patrick Mahomes. He's in the Patrick Mahomes tier.
How do the Packers do it?
Smart football people are asking. Jury's still out. We got Bo Nix. We got Drake May. We've got Anthony Richardson. We got Sam Darnold, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, all in the jury still out. In the cooked tier, we got Trevor Lawrence, Will Levis, Daniel Jones. And in the cooked and horrible tier, we got DeShaun Watson. Tony's tiers. For now, maybe we revisit and do a quicker one. This was a little bit longer. We had friends involved. Maybe we do a revisit to this towards the playoffs in the NFL. Stay tuned. Sunday Night Live every Sunday, 7:30 p.m., going through the NFL slate and wrap everything up and put a nice little bow on it before the week starts. We love you guys. Peace.